Hello, good morning. I always wake up running hot. I always wake up just bam, like a mountain of energy. And so a lot of times I'll watch the videos I made, or of course I have one cup of coffee and I take kratom. But the joke that I just had earlier, a second ago in my mind, in the other room was the thought of Leonardo DiCaprio thinking about me when he fucks Vittoria Soretti is pretty funny, actually. That's pretty fucking hilarious. I get the feeling. My scene, right? That Hollywood's fed up with the psychic mind game. That it's not really esoteric or subtle anymore. That I'm a psychic sledgehammer, right? Just like a bam, 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 big dick dragon, right? And they're all like sweaty and sore, like Gina Davis in The Fly. Right? Not because it's not true, but because it is true. Right? Right? That Leo, oh, you want to be a playboy? Dump that old bitch and give her to me, right? Get it? Oh, you want to be a child in your mind and think that that's like cool? Right? I pull your magic card. And so I was the same way. I don't have the right to call myself a magician, but if Quentin does, then I do too. That's the point, isn't it? And this is what he's been having so much trouble with reconciling in his mind. Right? The fact that he never had a right to deny me. He never had the true authority to hover over me in this way. And he always knew that it upset me. And it seems pretty obvious now that the women were like, we don't like you treating him this way. This isn't a normal guy. He's not like all the other guys, right? That's why we like him. Because we can just like chill and like be cool. Right? But that's pretty funny. The thought that I poisoned Vittoria Soretti's mind. The thought of having my baby. Right? Do they see these? I know they see him. The whole fucking industry is like passing these emails around saying, God damn, he's an animal. Right? Just like his father. You get it? So you want to play a psychic? You want to be, right? You want to be an occultist? Right? How wide is your mind? Right? Oh, I have to sacrifice something in myself for money? No, I don't. Right? Socrates, right? Anyone who's read Symposium? And of course, none of you have, because you're all dumbasses. Right? But the spirit of pure love is homeless. Right? This is Socrates. Right? That it gives and gives and gives and gives, right? Until it's on the street and has no shoes and is begging. But that's how it works. Because it takes from both parents. Right? So it gives and then it takes. When it has nothing left to give. And so, right, Quentin, right, he gives the movies, right, and that's like, but he sees it wrong. You understand? He sees it in like this weird, skewed, kind of selfish. And I don't know how he felt in those first films. It's hard to know because I've only been in his mind between Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and The Movie Critic. That's like, so it's like, I can't really. What do the psychics have to say that I wrote? Are they prepared to say, oh no, this doesn't merit a discussion? How's that for a round table? How's that for a magic circle? Right? I find all the fucking most powerful psychics in LA and we fucking just destroy him. But that's like, that's the same thing, isn't it? You think that if I brought my compass, right? So you guys don't know like the full story, but I made a lot of hardcore allegations, right? Or not allegations, but guarantees, right? To Ari Emanuel and Mike Simpson. That once I have money, I'm going back there. Right? And I'm going to go find every goddamn psychic in that godless Babylon. And we're going to have a nice little celestial audit. Right? I'm going to slam my compass down and say, bam! Pick two numbers between 1 and 22. Here's $500. Now I give you a reading. And if you deny me, I call you a hack. And And if you deny me again, I do everything I need to do outside of the building and I swallow your soul. And if you deny me a third time, right, I burn that building down and go to prison. You get it? Because I'm the fucking real deal. Right? None of you understand psychic phenomenon. Right? This is my point when I say he has to be like Hannibal Lecter. Right? That I can go to prison. You get it? I can be in an 8x10 in fucking absolute isolation and be the strongest fucking psychic in the world, right? It's like you guys don't see what it is. Right? You don't see, right? When you see these hardcore Buddhists, right? And they can like raise the temperature of their hands to like 180 degrees. Right? They can do that not because they're lucky, but because they sacrificed their lives to isolation and meditation. That's the point, isn't it? Right? And so, is it my responsibility to balance the psychic scales of the Western world because we all continue to glorify Quentin Tarantino? I think it might actually be. I think it might actually be my job to go into every single one of those storefronts, right? All those people. Your soul is mine. I'll watch you whenever I want, just like Quentin. Good morning.
Hey.
Right? It's my mother, sorry. If you step out of line, I'm on you. Right? I could never have conceived of these tactics that he puts upon me, because they represent an evil so disgusting that it needs to be in a straitjacket. You get it? This is the most disgusting abuse of wisdom in the 21st century. It is the most disgusting saga in the history of show business. Right? And everyone involved has no choice but to meet their maker with regret. That's the point. Right? I gotta turn the whole esoteric community upon him. That's what this is turning into. Because he can't let the women go. What's that? Pretty sure that's fucked up. Pretty sure that's... Right? That's a human rights violation, right? What's Amal Clooney got to say about it? You want to be a glamorous celebrity lawyer, bitch? She's probably really nice. I didn't mean that. But I wrote a law firm. Right? That they do human rights violations, all these things. Like we have to elevate our understanding, right? We have to. Right? If we say that you can exact a sadistic psychic torture upon someone, then it stands to reason that the law would be almost incapable of technically addressing it. Right? That the Inquisition, right, that you're opening yourself up in terms of like legal territory to true persecution in like to such a degree that people get burned at the stake. That's the point. Like it is. Like it's so dangerous. Separations of church and state and all these things. You have to prove scientifically, outside the confines of religious dogma, what is occurring. That's the point. Right? That you have to say neurologically. You have to reduce it to a pure intellectual essence. Right? Dostoevsky, the Grand Inquisitor. Right? That the church doesn't want the second coming. Right? So they call you a witch. They call you a wizard. Right? But if we say that you can do it, and you definitely can, right, does it not stand to reason that he could, in fact, be holding all these women in a quasi-criminal fashion? And everyone around him is so, like, steeped in fucking show business bullshit that they can't see on the most fundamental level, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, that he's being wicked and awful. Because they have no spiritual truth. It's all psychic occultism. It's not simple, pure, religious resonance. I can remember when I was very young, maybe 13, 14. I had a good friend, his name was Caleb. Still around, but he struggles with drugs, drinking, and all these things. But we were talking, we would always wax poetic. We would sit around and we'd play chess for hours. We'd like play, and then we'd turn the board around and play again. And we were talking about religion. I'll never forget this conversation because I didn't really understand like what we were saying for a long time. It took me almost 2 decades from the time we said it before I actually understood it. But he said something to the effect of, I asked the Lord to come into my heart. And all these things. Something to that effect. I can't remember specifically what he said, but he said, I meant it. I really meant it. Like I wanted to feel it, and like I didn't feel anything. And so that's a powerful, wise statement that he is too young to appreciate, And the point that he's driving at is that people who join the clergy, right, people who join the ecclesiastic establishment, are often so unresolved in their mind and in their souls that they cannot eloquently express what the purpose of religion is. Right? The purpose of religion is to not have a dogmatic overlord hovering over you, making you pay taxes. Right? It's to show you a moral structure, a moral foundation of simple emotional truth and law that you can use as a foundation to be a good person thereby. It has nothing to do with spirit possession, right? Instances of speaking tongues, right? Instances of religious rhapsody. These things are all real. They're not unreal. Like Walter Russell, all these people, Emanuel Swedenborg, they were so in tune with this abstraction, with this notion of this emotional foundation that it just unfolded, it cascaded, right? 500 videos in a year, you get it? But it's not there, there's nothing there. There's not it's an understanding that the universe is structured in a way that it unfolds according to the divinity within itself, right? This is the beauty of Marcus Aurelius, of the Meditations. Right, that there is this thing, it's called natural law, and you can behave according to natural law and not be a prude, kind of angry, stoic, Andrew Tate kind of guy. I guess that's what he's associated with now. But the beauty of what he has to say in that book will never be diminished by any sort of scientism or any other sort of intellectual imposition that's placed upon you. Right, that's the point of religion. Right, that it's not to know, I have to go to church every Sunday and pay my taxes, and because there's this thing that's going to send me to hell. Hell is there's nothing in any of the scriptures about personal damnation. No, there's nothing in any of the scriptures about hell. There's nothing right? That purgatory is an idea created by the Catholic Church, right? That these are all tactics to control your mind, to keep the public satiated, to keep them all from being hardcore witches who all have orgies, and you know what I mean? This is the real deal, right? That we create these structures, we create these systems of control based around, right, corruptions of the divinity that shapes our ends, right? And when you liberate your understanding, you say, that the Bible, that it's like a book, not that it's it's, right? And so this is Albert Pike's wisdom in Morals and Dogma, whatever page that is. I think it's page 3 or 4. It's pretty early in the book. That God made man in his image because man made God in his image. And everything that we see in the Bible, as far as it's easiest to point out in the Old Testament, but there's probably any number of instances in the New Testament as well, where we see God behaving. We say God is a vengeful God. God is a wrathful God, right? God is a jealous God. All these things, right? That's right. That's immature. That has nothing to do with real divinity, and everything to do with the human who was holding a pen and writing the book, doesn't it? That their God was jealous because when they wrote it, they were in a jealous frame of mind, isn't it? Doesn't that kind of makes a lot of fucking sense, doesn't it? That everything that we see is in relation to us. And so, of course, we would say that Adam Kadmon, right, the Kabbalistic tenet, that we divine our bodies are a corruption of the divine, right, idea of man, right, comes from our psychological arrogance. That's the point. That we stand tall, right? And this is what I talked about in one of my essays in the first iteration of my book, that there was this like kind of prototype for how we behave, right? That we kind of betray the structure of our bodies, where I feel like we're like kind of designed to walk, right, like a monkey or like a bear, And so this is the dignity of Manly Palmer Hall again, right? That man betrays the natural order, right? And so this is the beginnings of philosophic insight, the beginnings of religious rhapsody, right? That somewhere along the way, someone stood up and had back pain forever. But they had these, right? That all of the other beasts of the earth, their spinal column runs parallel to the surface of the earth, and therefore they're always looking down, right? But man, right, can look up. Right now, I remember in one of his lectures, he says something to the effect of, we look up and we see the immensity of the night sky and it terrifies us, so we look down and focus on what kind of fork we're supposed to be using. And I think that that's still true in a big way, especially as it pertains to show business, right? The movies. Right? And so Quentin tried to cast a spell over my mind, and I hated it the whole time. I don't respect psychics. It's a weird tactic, and I regret not being cool, right? Because he was showing me that he loved me. He was showing me that he needed a friend, but he just didn't know how to, right? How to say, I've been lost for a long time, and I see that you can give me peace of mind. And I'm ashamed. And he doesn't deserve that. He's a miserable bastard. Right? And so Billy, I know that in his mind he was like, oh, that's just a performance. That's not. Because Quentin was genuine with him, and they loved each other, and all these things. But we're the same, he and I. I need my mind. That's all. Now it's done. It's done. Everything that he wanted, he's got it. But now it's cost that whole industry everything. And I suppose I'll go. But if I have to keep going, right, I suppose I'm about to find who's the closest person to the U.S. Attorney General that I can email, and I'm going to email them, and I'm just going to keep going until these women have the authorities in front of them, devoid of representation, and they have the opportunity to say how they feel, to say that they don't feel safe around Quentin, to say that they want to see me and me alone, right? Or to look me in the eye and say, right, we never loved you. You're not well. Because if the truth is that Quentin has deeply unresolved issues with his psyche in relation to the world, in relation to himself, then everything that I'm saying actually does make a lot of sense regarding why he would create all this bullshit, why he would lie to everyone, because he's so arrogant since Billy died. Because he can't reconcile who he is inside with who he is in the world, right? And who he is in the world is this Hollywood hotshot, big shot guy, and who he is inside, right, is a fractured, lonely man. And so I have to help everyone come to terms with who they are. I have to help Vittoria Soretti understand that she's just another slut in a long line of sluts, right? Because Leo DiCaprio doesn't actually care about you, right? Doesn't want to make you a wife, doesn't want to, right? That he's just a fucking douchebag, right? I'm not saying I'm better, but I'm saying I'm better, right? I sing you songs, I give you babies, right? And I know that, right? All the men in town, they fucking hate me. Because I'm like speaking truth to power in a real way. That the systems that you all have put in place, in fact, are designed to infantilize women, to not give them real voices, right? To not, right? And so this is why we're opposites, he and I. Because, right? He's always objectified women, and now he has no choice but to see them as his equal, and he's struggling. So, let me know what you think. God bless.